Hello everyone and welcome to another video. In the previous video, as you know, I have already given you overview. So before continuing with anything else, I think you should all know what actually these viruses are, right? Before doing any work, you have to familiarize yourself with what kind of things you are going to do when you are going to work. So this time in this journey, we are going to work with viruses, and that's why we have to know what exactly they are and how can we visualize them in our mind, because your imaginations will always help you while studying this virology. Okay, so first point which I have mentioned here is that they live in a no man's land. Okay, why I have mentioned this no man's land? As you know, there are mammals, let's just say animals, plants, and apart from them we know bacteria are also there, and we know that we cannot see these bacteria through our naked eyes. Okay, so just like these organisms, animals, plants, bacteria, even fungi and all will also come under these. These viruses are a little different from these all, and that's why I have written this no man's land, because they lie on the border of living and non-living. ठीक है? Okay, and living means everything which is alive. They show response to anything, whatever, means they get stimuli accordingly. And if you draw this line here in between them, this is the zone which is occupied by viruses. Okay, and this takes us to why they are on this line is because they are obligate intracellular parasites. Now what does this obligate intracellular parasite means is that it is compulsory for them to affect the host, and that's when they show their living properties. And if they are outside of the host, they will always show their non-living property, and that's why I'm calling them intracellular. Obligate intracellular parasite means it is compulsory for them to get a host. Okay, and then we will talk about genetic material. Okay, now I have written here that they have either DNA or RNA. They may contain one of them, but if you I know maybe you know or not, but I'm telling you that if you talk about animals, plant, bacteria, etc., they always have DNA as a genetic material. This genetic material contains all the information which is needed for them to do every activities that they need in order to survive, and even replication is included in that DNA also. Okay, but these viruses are special. Why they are special? Because they have DNA, and some also have RNA as their genetic material. Okay, and the last point is they lack cell organelles. Okay, now you know that our cells, not ours only, but plants, animals, bacteria, etc., they all have cell organelles. If you talk about their cells, they contain various cell organelles like mitochondria. Okay, mitochondria, they contain nucleus, not in bacteria but in other eukaryotes. Okay, so and another also, like you must have heard about lysosomes, right? And these kind of cell organelles are present, you can say, in all living organism, but since the living itself is exception for virus, and that is the reason why these cell organelles are also exception in its case. Okay, so they seriously lack cell organelles except for this arenavirus. This is a special virus which contain granules. Some says that it has granules by its origin, I mean by its birth, but other says that it take up those granules from host. Okay, but still they have granules, so that's why we consider it their organelles itself. Okay, and this is the reason why they always need host. Okay, because they don't have their own cell organelles. Okay, so they cannot replicate by themselves. They need machinery of their host, their ribosomes they need for protein synthesis, their polymerases they need for DNA replication, and that's the reason why they lie on this no man's land. Okay, now let us talk about the size of viruses. How will you get the idea related to virus size? Is that, like, we humans, like you can say, we range around 1 to 2 meters. Okay, you know how our height goes, we usually measure them in inches. Okay, but let us just say we are 1 to 2 meters. Okay, now if we talk about bacteria, now bacteria ranges around 0.5 to 2.0 micrometers. Okay, now if we convert this to, like, if we convert this to meter, it is 2 into 10 to the power 6 meters. Okay, so bacteria can range up to this size. So since they have this much small size, -6 actually, my bad, since they have so much small size, that is why we need microscope for their visualization. Okay, now we put our eyes over here and we put our slide here, and this is the lens, and here are also lenses, and these lenses will help magnify the image what we are going to observe. Let's just say this is bacteria. Okay, and you know we cannot observe bacteria through our naked eyes, that's why we are using microscope. But if we talk about viruses, they are even smaller compared to bacterias. Their size ranges from 10 to 400 nanometers. Okay, now this size is so small that you don't ordinarily need any normal microscope. This microscope is what we call compound microscope, and for their visualization we need electron microscope. Okay, this electron microscope uses electrons in order to visualize any small creature, because electrons have so much low wavelength that they can make resolution and magnification better. And if we take a filter paper in it, right, this is a filter paper. Okay, and if we pass anything from it, let us just say I have a sample which contains bacteria. This is a bacteria which I have represented here with the red color, and after this bacteria I have just represented this virus, this tiny little virus right here. Let me zoom in. I have drawn this structure of virus right here. Okay, now if I have this filter paper right in front of me, it also always contains some pores, and these pores are so small in size that their size is around 0.2 to 0.3 micron. Of course, bacteria cannot pass through them, but viruses can always pass through them. So you can imagine how small they are to even pass through a filter paper. Like literally a filter cannot even filter it, right? And this is the basic idea which you need to know about viruses, and I just want to say thank you for watching this. Thank you very much.